You ever notice how money has a way of showing up after you've stopped begging for it? It's funny. People chase it like it's a god, kneel to it, cry over it, sell their peace just to feel the weight of it in their pockets. And yet it only knocks when you stop trying to impress it. Isn't that something? Energy, funny thing, isn't it? It's invisible, but everyone feels it. You can walk into a room and without a word, people know who just lost everything and who's about to take over. You ever notice that? You don't even need to speak, because your energy does. And here's the real twist: before money ever touches your hands, your energy already told it whether to come close or stay away. People think success starts with strategy, with routines, with morning affirmations and to-do lists. Cute, but all of that is just window dressing. The real transaction, that happens long before you post the vision board. It happens the moment your energy shifts from survival to certainty. Not fake confidence. Not the kind you wear when people are watching. I'm talking about that unshakable, disturbing kind of knowing. The kind that makes you walk different, even when your bank account is screaming at you to panic. But most people never make it that far. Because energy, real energy, is expensive. Not in dollars, but in sacrifice. You have to let go of being liked. You have to let go of needing permission. You have to let go of that sweet addiction to pity, to playing small, to pretending you don't want the very thing that keeps you up at night. And the price is your comfort. The illusion that you're safe just because you're silent. The lie that playing it humble keeps you holy. It doesn't. It keeps you broke. Emotionally, spiritually, financially. And money, well, money loves energy that knows what it's worth. Not arrogance. Awareness. When you walk into a room like you're the solution, not the applicant, money notices. When you speak like you're already funded, not begging for a chance, opportunity listens. That's the real joke, isn't it? The people who need money the most carry the weakest energy, because desperation leaks. And no matter how pretty your pitch is, if your frequency screams "I'm not enough," the universe believes you. See, money doesn't care about how good you are, how hard you work, how long you've waited. It responds to presence, to posture, to the way you hold your own silence, to the way you handle rejection without folding. And that's the part no one teaches you. They'll hand you business plans, funnels, scripts, but they never tell you to fix your damn energy, to stop moving like you're cursed, to stop begging people to see what you haven't owned in yourself. You want to attract unexpected funds, then stop carrying expected doubts. Stop showing up to life with a shaky voice and a pocket full of excuses. Start moving like you've already been chosen. That's the only frequency wealth respects. You don't find abundance by hunting it down with anxiety. You meet it by matching its level. You shift into the version of you that already has it, not tomorrow, now. Because your current energy is either welcoming it or warning it to stay the hell away. People love to say money changes you. No, it reveals you. Amplifies whatever your energy's been screaming in silence. You've seen it. Give a man with a broken energy $1 million and he'll still feel like a fraud. He'll blow it just to prove he never believed he deserved it in the first place. That's the tragedy, not poverty, but possession without power, reaches without readiness. Because money's not the reward, it's the response. You ever wonder why someone can go viral one time and the money never comes again? Because their energy couldn't hold it, couldn't stretch to fit the weight of what they asked for. So the blessing felt like a burden, and it slipped away. Because life doesn't give you what you ask for. It gives you what your energy says you can sustain. This is why people lose what they chase. Because they're chasing it from a place of lack, not alignment. And you can't attract what you're scared of. You can't hold what you still believe belongs to someone better. So you spend your life pretending to be okay with scraps, smiling while starving. Telling yourself you don't need much, just enough to survive. But deep down you're angry. Not because you're greedy, but because you know you were built for more. You just didn't know your energy was the password. The game was never about luck. It was never about connections. It was never even about timing. It was about who could hold the vision when nothing in their reality matched it. Who could keep their energy loud, even life tried to quiet them. Who could stay aligned while being overlooked, rejected, and underestimated. That's the currency before the money. That's the test before the treasure. That's what wealth listens for when it starts locating someone new. They'll tell you patience is a virtue. That if you just wait your turn, sit still, play nice, things will magically happen for you. Isn't that sweet? Like a child being told if they behave, the tooth fairy might leave them $1 under the pillow. But this isn't a fairy tale, and life isn't in the business of rewarding the well-behaved. In fact, if you look closely, you'll see the world doesn't hand crowns to the quiet. It hands them to the ones willing to bleed for it, even if no one's watching. You've been told to wait. Wait for approval. Wait for the timing to feel right. Wait for a sign, maybe something glowing in the sky. But while you wait, someone else is moving, not better than you, not smarter, just bolder. And that's the dangerous part, because boldness makes average people unstoppable, while fear keeps brilliant minds locked in invisible prisons. Most people aren't stuck because they're incapable. They're stuck because they're addicted to hesitation. The moment you start questioning your own calling, your mind becomes a courtroom and fear gets the final vote. You put your dreams on trial and you let doubt play prosecutor. You hand over the evidence of your past, your failures, and let it convince you that you're not ready. Not yet, maybe someday. But here's the truth you won't hear in self-help books. Someday is a trap. A beautiful lie painted with pretty colors. It's how potential dies quietly. What if I told you that the door you're waiting to open is unlocked? Has been for years. But you keep knocking like a polite little guest, hoping someone lets you in. Hoping someone inside recognizes your worth and welcomes you. And while you're standing outside rehearsing your introduction, somebody else walked through the back, took a seat at the table, and started carving their name into the crown. Because they weren't asking for permission. They decided they were the answer. Now, here's where it gets really twisted. You're waiting to feel ready. As if readiness is a feeling that shows up with a trumpet and parade. It doesn't. Readiness is a choice, and more often than not, it shows up dressed like fear. See, when you're about to break through, fear doesn't go away. It screams louder. And if you mistake fear for a stop sign instead of a signal that you're close, you'll spend your life parked on the edge of your own greatness. People say, I'm just being realistic. As if realism is some noble badge of honor. But half the things you now take for granted, the phone in your pocket, the plane in the sky, the internet, were once labeled impossible by realists. So don't you dare let realism shrink your reach. Because while you're being practical, someone else is being relentless. While you're calculating risk, someone else is becoming the risk. Let's talk about discomfort. You want change, right? Transformation. The life you dream of. But you want it without disruption, without chaos, without having to become someone unrecognizable to the version of you that made it this far. And that's why you're stuck. You want revolution with your hands still clean. But the rebirth you're craving requires blood. It demands the death of who you were pretending to be. And time isn't running out. That would imply you still had some. Time is already gone. Every minute you hesitate, someone hungrier than you just took a bite out of your future. This world doesn't pause because you're scared. It doesn't wait while you build up the nerve to act. It keeps spinning. It keeps choosing. And if you won't choose yourself, it will pass you over for someone who will someone. You don't need more information. You're not lacking knowledge. You're drowning in it. Books, podcasts, motivational speeches, you've got enough wisdom to build an empire. But wisdom without motion is just noise. Beautiful noise. Noise that makes you feel productive while keeping you perfectly paralyzed. You don't need another plan. You need to do what scares you. The thing you've been avoiding. The conversation, the decision, the leap. That's the portal. Not the plan. Not the goal. The action. So why haven't you moved yet? Because deep down you're scared that once you move, you'll prove yourself right. That you're not good enough. That you'll fail. That everyone who doubted you will laugh. But even deeper than that, you're terrified you might actually succeed. And then what? What if you have to keep showing up, keep expanding, keep breaking your own limits? That's the real fear. Not failure, but the weight of becoming who you were meant to be. People think pain is the enemy. They dodge it like it's a bullet, run from it like it's the plague. But what they don't realize is pain is the only thing that tells you you're still alive. Most people numb it, medicate it, scroll it away, drown it in comfort, hoping the noise drowns out the scream. But it doesn't. It lingers, whispers in. The silence shows up in the cracks, because pain, unlike lies, doesn't pretend. It's the most honest thing you'll ever meet. You don't have to guess what it means. It tells you exactly where the wound is, and yet you hate it. You curse it, like it's some cruel trick played on you by the universe, as if you're the only one carrying it. But here's the twist, they're all in pain. Every single one of them. The rich, the broken, the ones who smile too much and the ones who don't much talk at all. Some hide it better, wear masks so well even they forget it's there. But peel it all back and you'll find the same thing, hurt. Buried under achievements, bank accounts, filters. You start to see the world clearly once you stop assuming everyone else is okay. The ones who make it, they don't escape pain. No, they dance with it. Learn its rhythm. Let it sharpen them like a blade. You see, pain doesn't break you, resistance to it does. Most people crack not from pressure itself, but from their refusal to sit with it. They flinch at discomfort, so they retreat. Back into safety. Back into the illusion. Back into a cage. But the cage is invisible, and that's why it's so dangerous. You live inside it long enough, you start calling it home. Decorate it. Defend it. Call it normal, but it's not. It's prison with velvet walls. Think about this. Every breakthrough, every reinvention, every transformation you've ever had, it came after pain. Not peace, not ease. It was birthed from a breakdown, a betrayal, a failure that shattered your illusion. So why are you so quick to run when it shows up again? You think the storm is punishment, but what if it's permission? A portal, a reset button. Not everything that hurts you is there to harm you. Some things come to rearrange your soul, tear out what doesn't belong, and force you to become what you were too scared to build on your own. Everyone wants growth until they realize what it costs. See, growth isn't pretty. It's not soft piano music and vision boards. It's late nights questioning your own sanity. It's being misunderstood, misquoted, mistreated. It's losing things that once defined you, friends, habits, even your name. It's not an upgrade, it's a funeral. The death of who you were for the birth of something raw, something unshaped. And you won't get a standing ovation for it. You'll get silence, isolation, maybe even hate. But that's how you know it's real. Now here's the part that no one likes to talk about, the pain that stays. The stuff you don't get closure for. The apologies that never come. The justice you never get. That's the poison that eats most people from the inside. They wait for healing to feel fair. But healing doesn't need fairness. Healing just needs you to stop waiting. Because the longer you hold that grudge, the longer the pain owns a pew. The person who hurt you might sleep just fine at night, but you carry them in your spine, your posture, your silence, letting them live rent-free in your bloodstream. And that's the real cost. Not the pain itself, but what it steals when you don't process it. It steals time, energy, relationships. It bleeds into the way you speak to yourself, the way you show up. Most people aren't even living their surviving memories, haunted by echoes of what someone did to them 5 years ago, still proving themselves to ghosts who don't care anymore. That's the tragedy. Not the wound, but the way they worship it. But you're not most people, right? No, you're the one who hears the scream behind the silence, who sees the cracks in the smiles, who knows pain isn't the end, it's the threshold, the invitation. And yeah, it's gonna hurt. It's supposed to. That's how you know you're close. Because the fire only burns what can't come with you. Everything else it forges. They'll tell you to be patient, to wait, to hold off just a little longer. As if time is your friend. As if waiting doesn't rot people from the inside out. See, the world loves obedience when it looks like silence. When it smells like submission. They'll sell you the idea that the universe has a plan, that things will magically fall into place eventually. But what they don't mention is what happens in the meantime, in the silence. When nothing moves and you're the only one left awake in a city that's already fallen asleep. And that's when it starts, the noise inside. The questions that scratch at your mind like rats in the walls. What if it never happens? What if you're not good enough? And they echo. Over and over. You scroll to numb it, smile to hide it, numb it with dopamine hits and distractions dressed as progress. But deep down, you know when you've stayed too long in a place that's not growing you. You feel it in your chest, in your eyes, in your dreams that are now more like reruns than revelations. People think purpose comes wrapped in comfort, that when it's right it'll feel easy. That's the joke, that's the trap. See, when the shift starts, it doesn't feel divine, it feels like destruction. Like a crack in the wall of your carefully painted life. Things fall apart before they come together, but nobody warns you about the in-between. The chaos, the collapse, the shedding of everything you once called identity. It's not a spiritual retreat. It's a storm. A riot inside your soul. A rebellion against the lie you've been living. And yet, most people stay. In the job. In the relationship. In the city that chokes their fire up day by day. Not because it's right, but because it's known. Familiar. Predictable. And safety is seductive. Even if it's killing you slowly, at least you know how it ends, right? At least you don't have to start over. At least you don't have to fail again. So they build routines around regret, decorate cages and call them homes, and hope that one day maybe life will knock on their door and rescue them. But it doesn't. Because life doesn't move for those who whisper. It roars for those who scream. You were never meant to fit in. That ache in your chest, that wasn't confusion, it was a compass, pointing to something bigger, louder, messier than what you're settling for. But here's the problem, the world doesn't reward people who listen to their own fire. It rewards the ones who behave, who follow the script, who play nice. The dangerous ones, the ones who dare to listen to the whisper before it turns into a scream, they get labeled as crazy, as rebels, as unstable, until one day they win. Then suddenly everyone calls them brave. But waiting, that's the real gamble. The slow death disguised as wisdom. You think you've got time, but time doesn't owe you anything. It doesn't care about your dreams or your excuses. It doesn't bend just because you're scared. It moves with or without you. And one day you wake up not to the life you wanted, but to the one you tolerated. You'll look around and realize the doors you once had the key to are gone. Rusted shut, covered in dust and regret. So the question isn't, should I move? The question is, can you afford not to? Can you really sit through another year of playing small? Of biting your tongue while your soul screams? Can you really keep pretending that this is it? That this is all you were made for? Or will you finally burn the blueprint and write your own? Not tomorrow. Not when it's convenient. Now, while the fire is still hot, before comfort takes root and you forget what it felt like to want more. Because the truth is, every second you hesitate, the life you could be living moves one step further away. And one day the silence won't just be inside you, it'll be everything around you. The dreams gone, the fire out. And all that'll be left is the echo of what could have been. They'll never tell you the real cost of pretending to be normal, will they? No, they hand you a mask the moment you're born. Smile like this. talk like that. Don't laugh too loud, don't cry too hard, and for God's sake, don't dream too big. Blend in, behave, be nice, because stepping out of line, that's dangerous, that makes people uncomfortable. And when people get uncomfortable, well, they start labeling you problem, misfit, lunatic. They'd rather box you than understand you, easier to manage that way, but let's not play innocent. You wore the mask too, didn't you? Long enough that you started to forget what your own face looked like underneath it. Long enough that you started to believe the lie that if you just kept it on long enough, one day it would become real. That one day the world would reward you for being so damn agreeable. But that day never came, did it? Because it doesn't. Because the world doesn't pay those who conform, it uses them, drains them, until there's nothing left but a shell walking in circles, calling it a life. People walk around like shadows of themselves, smiling with dead eyes, laughing at jokes they don't find funny, saying yes when their soul is screaming no, and then they wonder why they feel empty, why they wake up with that knot in their gut, that heaviness in their chest. It's not depression, no, it's betrayal, self-betrayal, the kind that festers in silence, the kind that spreads like rot. You betrayed your truth. And now it's what happens when you ignore your own voice for too long, it starts clawing its way away. And here's the beautiful tragedy. Most people will live their entire lives like this, chained to expectations, buried under layers of fake smiles and filtered thoughts. They'll lie on their deathbed wondering where it all went wrong. But the truth is, it didn't go wrong, it just never went real. They never gave themselves permission to be who they were. Never broke the script. Never lit the match. Because they were too scared of being seen. Too scared of being judged. Too scared of standing alone. But here's the irony, they're already alone. You can be in a room full of people and still feel like a ghost. Especially when you know you've never let anyone meet the real you. That version. The raw, unpolished, and tamed you. The world hasn't even seen it. Hell, maybe you haven't either. You've kept it locked away like it's something shameful, like it's a curse instead of a calling. And for what? To keep the peace. To win approval from people who wouldn't recognize your soul if it screamed in their face.